So the topic that I chose to present on was personalizing learning, and I tried to wait until I got a little bit less sick to record this video, but that did not happen, so we're just gonna have to bear with me with my voice. So this is Personalizing Learning by Jane Catherine Burris. So to start off, let's start with the definition of personalized learning. What is it? So the best definition that I found in my research is that it is a diverse variety of educational programs, learning experiences, instructional approaches, and academic support strategies that are intended to address the distinct learning needs, interests, aspirations, or cultural backgrounds of individual students. Personalized learning is the opposite of a traditional one-size-fits-all learning in a classroom that has been done for years and years, with the teacher at the front of the classroom lecturing to an entire group of students who are supposed to be sitting in their desks, giving the teacher their undivided attention, not getting distracted, just paying attention. But personalized learning looks totally different from that. Some examples of this include personalized learning plans, which we'll talk about more in depth on the next slide, allowing students to have a role in their learning experience, giving students multiple opportunities to show their knowledge, so not just having one standardized test determine whether they pass or fail a grade, or whether they know the material or don't know the material, and flexible seating. And I have included a picture of flexible seating. This is a very simple way to personalize learning. It's another way to give students a choice in what they learn, and when students feel they have a choice in what they're doing, it's more meaningful to them. So, personalized learning plans. These are mainly for students in middle school and high school. It allows students to be responsible for their own learning and move at their own pace. Obviously, each student is different, and it guides students in setting achievable academic goals, both short-term and long-term. So, at the high school level, when you have a personalized learning plan, some aspects that can go into it are if you want to take the college path or if you want to take the career path, and what courses you could take in high school that would best fit the career path or college path that you've chosen. Next is the importance to society. So obviously, personalized learning is very important to society. It can better prepare students for the future. It helps them with setting goals. If you have good goal-setting habits when you're young, they'll stick with you and improve as you get older and older. And in addition, it can save the state and the school district money. Instead of paying for every student to take every single class that the high school offers, the personalized learning plan can help specify which classes each student needs to take so that money isn't being wasted on classes that aren't necessary for every single student to take. Now we move on to the importance in education. So students will enjoy school and will want to learn. Like I mentioned, if students feel they have a choice in what they're learning and how they're learning it, it will encourage them more and it will make them want to learn. It will make them want to come to school. Each student is able to work at his or her own pace, so no one feels behind or left out or is excluded. In this little picture here to the side, each of the students has a different number of books. They all seem happy. That's kind of how personalized learning is. Each student is happy learning at their own pace, and they'll all get there with personalized learning. ISTE standards for educators. So if personalized learning is implemented correctly, then all of the standards should be met. And these standards include the learner, the leader, the citizen, the collaborator, the designer, the facilitator, and the analyst. So I chose 2 standards that really stuck out to me that went hand in hand with personalized learning. The first one is under Designer 5A, which is use technology to create, adapt, and personalize learning experiences that foster independent learning and accommodate learner differences and needs. And the second one was under Analyst 7A, which states provides alternative ways for students to demonstrate competency and reflect on their learning using technology. And I feel like personalized learning can help do both of these things, especially in 5A. It specifically states it helps personalized learning. And if personalized learning is in the ISTE standards for educators, it must be important. It must be growing and be a good thing to implement in the classroom. Finally, we have personalized learning in early childhood, which is the field of education that I wish to go into. So, obviously, the personalized learning plans are designed for students who are a little bit older than the early childhood grades, but that doesn't mean personalized learning can't take place at this level. Probably the main way it's implemented in early childhood classrooms is learning styles. So students will be able to find out their own learning style. Usually it's a quiz or a survey where they'll find out their own learning style, and it'll tell them study techniques and ways to learn that best fits their learning style. So students can find out what their learning style is, and if the teacher gives this quiz or survey to everyone in the class, then she can pick it back up, look through all of the answers, and figure out what learning styles are most prominent in her classroom, and therefore adjust her teaching methods and quizzes accordingly to accommodate most of the students in her classroom, his or her classroom. Another way is a question wall, which I also added a picture of, a wonder wall, a question wall of just questions students might have. They can put on the wall, and either other students or the teacher can answer them, just things they're wondering about, just to further their learning, things that they want to learn about, care about learning, offer answers to them. Another is students evaluating their own work. So in one of the sources I was reading, an example was that at the end of the week, the students put all of their work in a folder, and at the end of the week, they would look in the folder and choose 2 pieces from the week that they thought was their best work and they wanted to keep till the end of the year in their portfolio. And the rest of it, they didn't keep. They only kept what they thought was best. So evaluating what they did that was good, what they did that was not good, what they can do to change it, and to take pride in their work. And the last thing is silent reading. So silent reading is another way to personalize learning, because we have to give students the freedom to read what they want to read. We can't just have them read what's required to read in English class. They won't enjoy reading. Silent reading is a good way to implement their choices in literature and foster learning at the same time. And here is my list of references that I also included in my bibliography.